Here's your first Thirsty Thursday.
It's just gonna click it the whole time.
I forgot what I was saying.
And the 6-shooter.
Hey, young adults. It's Jill and Sean O'Connor coming to you from our living room. We're starting something called Thirsty Thursdays, where we get to hang out with you and share a little bit about what we feel like God's putting on our hearts. Right now, there's so much uncertainty and fear and anxiety happening around you outside. And we just want to be a source of encouragement in what we feel like God is encouraging us with in this season. So thanks for joining us.
Without further ado, let's get into this. I wanted to read in something that I've been going through. I've been trying to go through the Gospels. And so I've been in Matthew. We got the story where Jesus is being baptized, about to launch his ministry. And when Jesus was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." Chapter 4. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. In this passage in chapter 4, where it says that Jesus was led by the Spirit to the wilderness, wilderness can be translated as desert or deserted place or a quiet place or solitary place. And essentially what just happened is we have the baptism of Jesus, this launching of his ministry, the culmination of he's been around 30 years old, he's been living his life for this moment, and suddenly he has this opportunity where the sky is ripped open, God's voice audibly comes down, this moment where people are gathered, they see it, they witness that Jesus is about to kick off his ministry to revolutionize and redeem his people, that all the Old Testament was leading up to this moment, and it's just perfect. You hear God's voice, and what happens? He's taken away by the Holy Spirit to a quiet place, a solitary place, a deserted place. And it seems so counterintuitive. Why? Why was he taken away from this place? And much more, why was he taken away by the Holy Spirit? And I've kind of always mocked it up to be this face-off between the devil and Jesus. And Jill and I have been recently reading this book called Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is a great book by a guy named John Mark Comer. He says in this book that the wilderness isn't a place of weakness, it's actually a place of strength, because Jesus finds his strength when he's alone with God. And I wonder how many of us see this place that we're in right now, this wilderness that we find ourselves in, as a place of weakness. Jesus was led into the wilderness by the Holy Spirit because he knew that's where he would find, in silence and solitude, is where he would find his strength.
So one of the truths that I feel like God's revealing to me is that this silence, this isolation, if you will, is actually, in a countercultural way, a gift for us to draw into this place where we can align ourselves, center ourselves with him. So in light of this, of us grasping this understanding of what being in the wilderness looks like for us, we have been waking up at 6 a.m., which is not easy. We are not morning people, to spend intentional time with God. And sometimes it looks like reading the Bible, sometimes it looks like leaning into this book. But we want to invite you in on this journey with us. Would you join us in this season? Would you embrace the forced silence and the solitude that we are in by making silence and solitude a regular rhythm for your morning? We are very much still figuring this out, and there are some mornings that it doesn't look the way we wanted it to, like this morning, perhaps for Sean, as Summit was screaming his head off. But we just encourage you to have grace for yourself.
Yeah.
And God is not about shame or guilt. Yeah. But I can promise you that if you have accountability and if you are intentional about it, God will be faithful and he will meet you in the morning at 6 a.m. as he's been meeting us. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. Sometimes we just sit in silence in the practice of being mindful about setting time aside in the morning to be with Jesus.
And know that you're not alone, that we're going to be doing this, that other young adults throughout the city are going to be doing this. Thanks for taking time with us. Happy Thirsty Thursdays.